All right, I'm back talking more wrestling. Last time I was on, we talked the RAF, Real American Freestyle event. We're going to recap that, and we're going to recap the World Championships for Men's Freestyle. Let's actually start with the World Championships for Men's Freestyle, because I think that leads into RAF really well. So, just concluded Men's Freestyle at 2025 World Championships in Zagreb, Croatia. I think Team USA did a really solid job. I believe we ended up second overall. Really good performance. I'm going to go through weight by weight and give my thoughts. Out the gate, Spencer Lee, disappointing loss. It was a shame to see that result, especially seeing how hard he was on himself after his Final X performance. I thought he performed fine at Final X, but he clearly had a chip on his shoulder still, which I think was maybe a little too aggressive of a chip, but a chip that he likes to have on his shoulder nonetheless. Going into this, though, a lot of people were talking about Spencer being a lock, and the great, undisputed, undefeated Chael Sonnen talked about being a lock, and everyone saying like, hey, you're the guy, you're gonna win, and all this stuff and more, how that can mess up an athlete, and how all upsets happen when you're in a fight or a match that's harder than you expected it to be. Is that what happened with Spencer Lee? I'm not entirely sure, but I know he has the ability to win a world title. I'd love to watch him win a world title. I don't know why that was hard to say, but it was. I'd love to watch him win a world title. I think he has the ability. I just hope he bounces back. I hope he can find some peace. I don't know if he needs a different training situation. I think he's doing fine at Iowa. Clearly, he had 6 tournaments before this. He went to 2 tournaments overseas, crushed a bunch of people. So I don't think his preparation is a problem. I don't know. Curious. I would like to see him maybe go to a Michigan for a month and just go somewhere else to get a little stretch his legs in one way or another. I'd like to see that. Don't know if he'll do that, but it'd be nice to see. Jax Force, 61 kilos, taking 5th. Really weird 5th place, bronze medal match. But I think he wrestled well. Super bright future for Jax. I was kind of hoping he'd win a world title, and then there'd just be kind of this chaos that would happen, not just in the high school wrestling world, but then the college wrestling world too. There was conversations about Jax potentially just bypassing his senior year. But right now, looking like he's still going to be a high school senior at Bishop McCourt, and he'll have a fun year. I know folk style is way different than freestyle, so I think he'll still have competitive matches and potentially even lose competitive matches. And for those that don't know, I am in my car right now. It's actually kind of easy to see. I'm outside of work, and there's a cat outside. And if we're lucky at the end of this video, I'll get a clip of this cat. We'll see, though. So that's Jax Force at 61 kg. Now at 65 kg, Real Woods with a bronze. He wrestled really well in repechage. Got his ass whipped by Amuzad, but who didn't get their ass whipped by Amuzad? I think he looks good. The bronze medal match was kind of lame, but the other guy was clearly looking to counter. He was looking to counter. So it kind of ended up just being a push-out game. I think all the points were on cautions, if I remember correctly. So kind of a lame match, but a medal nonetheless, something we thought that he was capable of given his athletic attributes and his essentially him being so new to the scene is actually really helpful. Once you have a lot of tape on you, it's kind of hard to jump another level. So Real Woods, great job, bronze medalist. Now he's sitting out Final X, which is a big deal because that 65 field is tough. He barely made the team, so it's going to be really interesting moving forward how he is able to defend his spot and if he can repeat a medal performance and what other experiences, tournaments, accolades can he garner before essentially attempting to make the team once again in the near future. PJ Duke, 70 kilo, good tournament, wrestled well, lost, inexperienced. This was a much deeper field than the 61 kilo. When we're comparing those two, just because it's the 2 high schoolers, much deeper field. I thought PJ wrestled well. No real notes. I think PJ and Jax are going to both go to U23s and compete there. I think I'll have to double check that. But yeah, that'd be great to see them compete at U23s as well and see them win world titles. PJ won a world title in U20s, which is great. I think he'll win a U23 world title, or at the very least medal, because he still competes extremely well. Has tough matches in the margins. He's not getting blown up. Jax wasn't getting blown up. These guys belong there. It's just not their time quite yet because they're still teenagers. It's kind of reality. David Carr really impressed me. Going back to the GOAT, Chael Sonnen, and Chael talked about how David Carr really rises to the occasion, and David Carr has not just shown his ability to win, but his ability to improve match to match. He gets beat up by Messenbrink at the U.S. Open, and then he really controls the matchup from Messenbrink at the Final X. He loses to Sal Kazanov, I think in Croatia, beats Sal Kazanov, and he's just, his ability to adapt, his ability to learn from his losses, I think is better than really anybody on Team USA right now, because he's willing to compete, he's willing to throw himself in the fire, and he's such a dynamic athlete. He's just kind of going to be in the fight with a couple tactical adjustments here and there. He's going to be in any match he wants to be in. So, bright future for David Carr. Medalist for sure, world champion, I don't know, hard to say. The Japanese guy won via injury. Valiev is still kind of the guy. Jamalov is someone I'd like to see in the mix as well. I think he'll be back next year. Sidakov still obviously lethal, but it's a very, very fun and exciting 74 kilo field right now. Going to Levi Haynes, which probably one of the bright spots of the tournament, taking second to Greece Kugi. I don't know the full name, but we're just calling him Kugi. Wrestled really, really well. Tough hand fight. Super young, too. I think he's even U23 eligible as well. I think he's going to go to U23s. Silver medalist, runner-up. The biggest question I have for Levi is, where are you going to go for 2028? It's not very big, but I think he's a perfect 79 kilo. So if he goes down, what does that look like? It's going to be kind of tough. I assume we'll have an answer to that by this time next year, because it's a year before you kind of want to like align yourself depending on the opportunities to then have the medal spot going into the trials. So I'd like to see Levi at 74. I think be kind of cool, because 86, we'll go into that in a second, looking like it's going to be pretty stacked as well. So we'll see how that goes. But Levi looked great. Awesome to see. I'd love to, can't wait to watch him at the NCAA scene and continue to see him on the freestyle scene. When I was seeing some previews before, people saying, Levi, I don't know about it. I was like, I don't know, man. I think Levi's about to crush some dudes. And he did. He wrestled great. So, moving on. Zahid Valencia, 49. Chael says 48, whatever. 49-0, not 1 point. Smashed everybody. And super impressive. The funny thing about all that, though, to me, what I walk away with thinking more than anything, not only like Zahid, best in the world, probably pound for pound, top 3 in the entire world right now, definitely pound for pound, number 1 in the U.S. right now, is how good is Kyle Dake right now? Kyle Dake bumps up. He gives he goes 0-3 to Zahid this spring, early summer. So not a great thing for Kyle. But then Zahid then just blanks the world, right? So then makes you look at Kyle and you're wondering, you're like, hey, man, like Kyle was in all of these matches, all of them. And then Zahid smacked everybody else around. So do we have the second or third best guy on the planet on the national team just hanging out? Like, it makes me really wonder where he's at. Kyle Dake, in my opinion, right now is still a player. There's a gap, but he's still a player. And I'm very curious to see that dynamic over the next couple of years. Zahid, ton of fun. I do expect him to keep kind of rolling, getting this done. Seems like Stillwater's a perfect fit for him, not just for training, but for focus. I love it. Happy for him. And that's all I have to say. You know, Zahid winning makes me think, how good is Kyle Dake? And maybe it's just because I'm a Kyle Dake homer. That's okay. 90 kilos. Trent Hidley. Very, very, very happy for him. I think Trent Hidley just embodied the don't give up, hard work pays off mentality. I was watching his finals match. I saw him go down 8-0. And I honestly was like, I was thinking like, he's fine. He's going to get this done. He's just going to, out grit, out hustle this guy. I watched his semis match, kind of get in a weird spot, find a way to win. Trent Hidley is just the embodiment of grit and everything you want out of your wrestler. So seeing him get that done was so cool. Just total grit. No matter what the score is, I just had full belief Trent Hidley was going to get his hand raised and be a world champion. Super cool. And then going to 97 kilos, maybe the story, a top 5 like wrestling story ever. For those that do not know, Kyle Snyder was arrested in a prostitution sting operation a couple months back. Him even making or attempting to make the world team at Final X was kind of in question. He makes the world team, no interviews, goes to World Championships, wins a world title, and gives interview after and really doesn't share any additional thoughts. I'm a little disappointed in the wrestling media on the lack of pressing on this. Someone mentioned this, I can't remember who, but the wrestling media space is so small that we are afraid of asking these kind of important journalistic questions. Now, is that a proper journalistic question to ask? Like, hey man, like what the hell were you doing? What was happening there? Is that a journalistic question to ask? I don't know. I'm not a journalist myself, but I feel like we're kind of throwing Kyle softballs here. Be like, hey man, how's the past couple months been? And he's just like, it's been really hard. I'm just going to lean on my faith. And then we're like, that's a great answer. Feels kind of weak to me. And as a guy who does kind of like preach his faith in all these different ways, it just kind of now feels flat when that was the guy he was before. Right when this incident happens, that's the first thing he posts. He posts some Bible verse. And then afterwards, he talks about some Bible verse too. It's just like, it feels very disingenuous. And without any additional comments or real clarification, this just kind of feels strange now to me. Now, I'm just some guy, Kyle Snyder, world champion. Fuck, I don't fucking matter. But I think the lack of pressure or lack of transparency, it just makes this world title feel strange. I don't feel the same way about this world title that I do Zahid. I feel better about Real's bronze or Levi's silver than Kyle Snyder's world title, because it feels like there's still, this story is not concluded properly, in my opinion. And that's just, we're going to leave that right there. But undeniably, Kyle Snyder, world champion. Wyatt Hendrickson, I thought this dude was going to medal. He didn't. Makes me very sad. World stage, first time being here. But now it's wide open for Mason Parris to enter the picture once again and potentially make the team. That's an interesting matchup. Mason Parris just coming back. Mason Parris on the other end, which will lead into Real American Freestyle. Mason Parris will be facing Kyle Snyder, I believe, in a heavyweight matchup at Real American Freestyle on October 25th on Fox Nation. Very excited about that. To go over my thoughts on the RAF event, it was a ton of fun. I really, really enjoyed Real American Freestyle. The worst part about it was Chael and Tito up there, mostly Tito's fault, but the matchups were fun. I really enjoyed the pacing. The 3 2-minute rounds I thought were fun. I thought it kind of broke up the action just enough, kind of lengthened the match, but then didn't like overstay its welcome. Really shocking results from Jason Nolf. And I like the prospects of this event. The problem we're going to run into, and this is getting attention from foreigners, which is great. There are people all up in Yanni Diakma Hollis's comment section being like, I want the belt, because they think they can beat Yanni. I think they can too. So it's interesting what attention this is getting, but then let's say we just open it up like, all right, we're going to bring in, Tomiro Cheer from Mongolia to go against Yanni for the belt. And then Tomiro Cheer beats Yanni. And then we get, who else can we get? Like just these other studs, like the Kugi guy going against Evan Wick for his title. Kugi beats up in. Like, if we open this up too much, we're going to just have the foreigners having all of our belts. Do we want that? I don't mind that because I know these guys, but then is that going to help bring in a casual audience? I don't know. Is that going to bring it even to the middle gray area people? I don't know, and more likely not than will. So there's a lot of potential. The second you put a belt around somebody, people get excited. Undeniable. Real American Freestyle is doing that right. couple notes for the event. I thought the time thing, like in the corner, I thought that was very poorly designed. I could barely read it sometimes. It was like gray and it was like under black and it was like a very kind of dark gray. So you couldn't tell the score or the period sometimes. That, a small thing like that, that's just a production thing, adjustment. The mat was kind of hard to see on the screen. It says this dark room is a black mat and then like you couldn't see the out of bounds. So when you think someone is pushed out of bounds, really couldn't tell that exactly. It was an overall good looking map, but then it just didn't really look good on the screen. I think in the venue you could see it, but on the screen. We need to think about not just how it looks in venue, we need to think about how it looks like for the people at home, because that's going to be most of the people that are watching. Actually, it's tough. I don't know who's going to watch more, at home or at the venue, but still something you need to consider. MMA, great sport, or actually fun sport to watch in person, great sport to watch at home. So that's something that needs to be considered. Are you going to focus on being a home viewing experience, or are you going to focus on being a live viewing experience? And where can you find like a good balance of the two? I think MMA does a good job. I do know that basketball, awesome in person. Basketball, awesome when you're at home. Football sucks when you're in person. Great at home. Got to figure out which one is which. You know, where are you going to kind of put your eggs, all that fun stuff. So, last thing, Bo Nickel calling out Trent Hiley after Trent Hiley's world title for the Real American Freestyle belt. I think Trent Hiley will fucking roll through Bo. Roll. Absolutely roll. I just don't see it from Bo. The physicality that Trent brings and the I don't give a fuck attitude. I think Trent Hiley's going to roll through Bo. That's the take I'm going to put. Don't know if that's actually going to happen, but we will see. And here's the last thing you're going to see today. You're going to see the cat outside of the car, because this is the kind of content you get here. Here's the cat. She's right there. Or he. I don't know. That's all I have for the day. That's a cat. Real American Freestyle School. World Championships are awesome. That's all I have to say.